We come in with this Fox News alert. Lebanon's prime minister and entire cabinet have resigned in the wake of last week's deadly explosion in Beirut. Violent protests erupted overnight for a second day in the city as people called for a complete regime overhaul after 220 were killed. The cabinet will take on a caretaker role until a new government is formed. Our Trey Yingst is live for us in Beirut. Trey?
Harris, good afternoon. While you might think there would be a celebration here in Martyrs Square in Beirut, that is not the case. Throughout the day, we saw clashes between security forces and also protesters who, despite the fact this evening we saw the resignation of Hassan Diab, the prime minister of Lebanon, they're not happy, and they want to see a larger overhaul of the government. While the entire cabinet, as you mentioned, will be going along with the prime minister, these protesters say that there are still Hezbollah links within the government who are influencing the way in which Lebanon operates and had a role, they believe, in that disaster just last week. Take a look at the scene just a few hours ago here near Martyrs Square. Protesters are clashing once again with security forces outside of Beirut's parliament. The security team's firing tear gas at these demonstrators. Right now, protesters are trying to tear down the wall separating them from the Lebanese parliament security forces. Despite the fact that we have seen possible changes in the government, these demonstrators say it's not enough. And you can see right now off in the distance these riot security forces with shields, vests, and masks working their way up the street. As they do so, they are firing off tear gas rounds in an effort to push these demonstrators back. The big question here is what is next. There are more than 300,000 people internally displaced following that explosion on Tuesday. 80,000 of them are children, and it feels to the Lebanese people that nothing has changed. They believe that any sort of international aid coming in, whether it's from France, Germany, or the United States, will just end up in the hands of corrupt people. We heard that same concern by President Trump yesterday on that international donor call, where he said he wanted to see a transparent and independent investigation into the cause of the explosion. Harris?
Trey